Hello everyone. Now you will hear a short retelling of the movie Cage for Rabbits. The feed is based on real events. Western Australia, 1931. The law on Aborigines was adopted, which allows full control of their lives. Mr. Neville is now the legal guardian of any Indigenous person in the state of Western Australia. He is free to withdraw mixed-race children from families. Molly's father was white, and she herself was called a half-breed. Mom pointed Molly to the bird. It's a spirit that will always protect her. An Aboriginal family was tracking a monitor lizard when they were spotted by police. They're looking for half-blood children. Mr. Neville has already authorized their removal. The White Lord decides with whom the Aborigines can marry, whether they will be able to see their children, and even when to buy new clothes for them.
And Glotty Phillips writes, to be allowed to buy new shoes.
She bought a new pair just a year ago. The policemen get paid for transporting local children, 8 pence per mile. Molly has a younger sister Daisy and a cousin Gracie. Her father built the longest fence in the world. It's a rabbit fence 1,500 miles long. It is difficult for Aborigines to hide. The white people taught them to get food supplies in the warehouse. Constable Ricks drove up here and blocked the girls' way. The mother tried to protect them, but in vain. The constable threw the children into the car and left the woman struggling on the sand in hysterics. The relatives ran after the car for a while, but then they fell to the ground and wept bitterly. Mr. Neville considers the existence of a third race unacceptable, so he is going to raise the local population to the status of whites. Half-breeds will create families with whites, and thus soon their blood will be washed away. The Aborigines will be transferred, and there will be no colored population left. All half-breeds are taken to the Muravar boarding school, where they are made into exemplary servants and farm workers. Despite their resistance, we have to help the Aborigines. The girls were put in a cage and taken by train to Muravar. Then they were taken by truck for another half a day. So they found themselves 1,200 miles from their native land. At the boarding school, the children were met by a nun, whom the poor things took for a ghost. They will have to live in a large room with dozens of other girls. There is a latrine bucket in the corner, and the door is always locked. In the morning, the children were woken up by knocking on the wall and ordered to make their beds. The older girl looks after the others and gives them assignments. Breakfast will not start without prayer. An evil native keeps order. He forbids speaking the dialect. Only English is allowed. Miss Jessup bathed the sisters and gave them new clothes, which were sewn by other pupils. After that, everyone was taken outside and told to sing Mr. Neville's favorite song. The locals call him Devil, that is, the devil. The Englishmen began to examine the children. Those with whiter skin are considered smarter and can be sent to study at a regular school. The next ones called Molly over. If she does not obey, she will be blacklisted and then punished. Molly is very scared because she is facing the devil. Until recently, she was free, but today white people control her every step. Girls are forced to clean the room for the youngest. An Aboriginal pathfinder drove up to the boarding school. He caught and brought back a girl who had recently run away to her boyfriend. For this, they cut their hair and put them in a local punishment cell. Madhu is a former criminal. He hopes to curry favor and return to his homeland. But his daughter will still stay here. At night, Molly remembered the faces of all these bad people. She doesn't want to obey them. She doesn't want to be in this place. In the morning, when all the children ran to the church, Molly told her younger sisters that she had had enough. They were going home. They will reach their native places on foot. It's going to rain soon. He will wash away the traces, and the detective will not find them. Gracie was scared of the huge distance, but they still have no other options. And the girl caught up with her sisters. They ran as fast as they could down the road. Miss Jessup discovered their absence only in the evening, when she conducted a roll call. It's time for Mud to go in search of runaways again. He drove through the forest, guided by their footsteps. But then there was thunder. Soon it began to rain and washed away the tracks. 2 days later, Mr. Neville found out about the escape. He immediately realized that this was the elder's idea. She was too smart compared to the other Aborigines. The girls reached the river. Clever Molly knocked the detective off the trail, leaving Daisy's purse on the grass, and together with her sisters crossed the river in another place. However, at the last moment, the detective changed his mind, and the sisters almost got caught. Fortunately, Molly ordered them to hide in the grass. When the danger was over, the girls moved on and walked through the open area. They were met by local residents. The fugitives decided not to hide from them. The man immediately guessed that the girls had escaped from Mo River. He gave them a box of matches and cut off a piece of meat, and also warned that no one had escaped from that detective yet. They needed to be careful. A week has passed since the detective lost track of the girls. Mr. Neville is involving more and more police officers in the search. From a warehouse worker, Maud learned that her girls had run away. Meanwhile, they reached someone's farm. Molly was going to steal chicken eggs, but the owner of the farm caught her. The kind woman did not even scold her, but gathered supplies for the sisters on the road and even gave them outerwear.
And beware of the guys, they are hunting rabbits along the fence here. Where is this fence? To the east.
Molly hadn't known exactly where to go until that moment, but if you find a fence from rabbits and go along it, they will definitely get home. A month has passed since the escape. The trio is wanted by the authorities of the entire state. Other girls from the boarding school read the news about it and cheer for our heroines. Finally, the sisters found the fence. Hundreds of miles away, their mom is holding on to him too. Mr. Neville, relying on the testimony of witnesses, soon guessed that the girls began to move along the fence. It is enough for them to send just one person forward, and they will be pursued from behind by Madhu. One day Daisy sat down on the rocks and said she couldn't walk anymore. Her legs hurt a lot. In that case, the older sister will carry her in her arms for a while. Ahead, the girls saw a white man. He fed them and informed them that there were actually 3 fences from rabbits, not one. If they are going to return to Jigalong, then they probably chose the wrong fence. They will either have to go back or take a shortcut and go through the desert. Soon the policeman ran out of gas, and he did not meet the girls, so Madhu will continue the search alone. The sisters reached the farm where the former graduate of Moore River worked. She was very surprised because no one had ever managed to escape so far from the boarding school. Mavis promised that she would feed the girls and provide them with a bed for the night. At night, an old man came into the room and began to undress. As usual, he was going to have fun with the maid, but when he saw the children, he got scared and ran away. Mavis has to put up with it every night. She asked the sisters not to leave and promised that the old man would not betray them. But, unfortunately, the girl was mistaken. After some time, the Madhu police came here. The fugitives had to leave their cozy bed in the middle of the night. Fortunately, the pursuers postponed the search until the morning, although the girls were hiding in the bushes very close by. So that the detective would not find them, Molly put on her socks and walked over the stones, carrying the sisters on herself. She managed to deceive Madhu. Mr. Neville is worried that his reputation will suffer. Besides, soon the girls will find themselves in a real desert, a dangerous place where they may not survive. The constable is also not eager to ride in the desert. The girls, meanwhile, met another kind person who fed them. The man allegedly heard that Gracie's mom moved to the city of Vilona, and the girl can get there by train. Molly asked her cousin not to listen to this liar, and the sisters ran on. But Gracie's only thinking about her mom now.
But Molly, Mommy's there. She's Babylon. I want to go to Mommy.
Molly did not try to persuade her cousin anymore and ordered Daisy to go ahead.
Don't look back. Don't. She's coming.
However, Gracie decided to go her own way. The sisters found eggs on a tree in the rain and had a snack with them. Molly decided they should go back for Gracie, who was waiting for the train at the station. Molly called her cousin and she went to meet her, but it was too late. A car appeared behind them, a constable jumped out of it, and that sneaky stranger was riding a bicycle behind him. He said that the fugitives could be here and for this he would receive a coin at the police station. The poor thing was taken back to boarding school, and Molly cried bitterly. The exhausted sisters continued on their way. Rix was tired. He decided that it would be easier to wait for the girls to return to their home and grab them already there. The sisters reached the place where the fence breaks off, because rabbits are not found in this abode of death anyway. Girls survive by eating grass soaked in water. They are driven forward only by the belief that this dead land will ever end. but their strength still left them, and the sisters fell to the ground. But somewhere over the horizon, their mother and grandmother are waiting for them. Molly heard a bird cry in the sky. This is the spirit that protects her, which means it's too early to give up. Their journey is not over yet. Molly took her sister in her arms and carried her. Rix arrived in Jigalong. He is ready to meet the girls and take them back to the boarding school. The women began to sing a tribal song. Rix went to check what was going on there and met the girls' mother and grandmother among the thickets. They threatened the policeman with sticks, and he decided to just run away. The sisters saw their relatives and rushed into their arms. But Molly's joy was tinged with sadness because she had lost Grace after all. Finally, the girls were at home, among their own. Neville has run out of money to find the girls, but he is going to continue to fight with those who support native customs. If only they understood what we're trying to do for them. The sisters went home for 9 weeks. The family then had to hide from the authorities in the desert. Molly gave birth to 2 daughters, but they were all taken back to Moore River. Molly went home again through the desert with her youngest daughter in her arms. But Mr. Neville took the girl away again when she was 3 years old. Molly never saw her daughter again. Cousin Gracie died and never returned to Jigalong. Molly and Daisy have lived all their lives in their native land.